For over 3,000 years, the land of Greece has been a stage for some of the most extraordinary events in human history. It was here that mighty warrior kings ruled behind colossal stone walls, where philosophers questioned the nature of existence, where democracy was born, and where one young conqueror built an empire stretching across 3 continents. But Greece's story is also one of mystery, collapse, survival, and rebirth. To understand how this small corner of the Mediterranean changed the world forever, we must travel back to the very beginning. Before we uncover the rise of Sparta, the birth of democracy, and the conquests of Alexander the Great, take a moment to subscribe to Historic Vaults. Every week, we journey through the greatest civilizations, empires, wars, and mysteries in human history. If you're fascinated by the stories that shaped our world, hit the like button and join us on this journey into the past. Now, let's travel back thousands of years to the rugged shores of the Aegean, where the story of Greece begins. When most people think of ancient Greece, they picture a handful of famous images: 300 Spartans standing against impossible odds, philosophers debating beneath marble columns, athletes competing at Olympia, Alexander the Great conquering the known world. But these legendary moments are only fragments of a much larger story. The history of Greece stretches back thousands of years before Leonidas, Socrates, or Alexander were even born. It is a story of mysterious civilizations, catastrophic collapses, brilliant recoveries, and world-changing achievements. It is a story filled with warriors, kings, poets, explorers, scientists, and dreamers. Perhaps most remarkably, Greece was never truly united. Unlike Egypt or Persia, it was not one kingdom ruled by a single monarch. Instead, it was a patchwork of independent city-states, constantly competing with one another. And yet, despite their divisions, the Greeks created ideas that transformed the world forever. Democracy, philosophy, science, history, the Olympics, the very foundations of Western civilization. This is the complete history of Greece, and our story begins long before Greece itself existed. Human beings have lived in the lands of modern Greece for tens of thousands of years. Long before cities, kingdoms, and writing, early humans hunted across the mountains and coastlines of the Aegean world. Archaeological evidence suggests that even Neanderthals once inhabited parts of Greece. For countless generations, these early inhabitants lived as hunter-gatherers. Then, around 7000 BC, everything changed. A revolutionary new way of life arrived from the Near East: agriculture. For the first time, people could cultivate crops, raise animals, and establish permanent settlements. Villages began appearing throughout Greece. Population increased, communities expanded, and the foundations of civilization were laid. Geography would shape everything that followed. Greece was unlike Egypt or Mesopotamia. There were no great rivers to unite the land. Instead, mountains divided communities while the sea connected them. This unique geography encouraged independence. Rather than one powerful kingdom, Greece would develop dozens of separate communities, each following its own path. And from those communities emerged Europe's first great civilization. Around 3000 BC, a remarkable civilization appeared on the island of Crete. Today we call them the Minoans. The Minoans were masters of the sea. Their ships traveled throughout the Mediterranean carrying goods, ideas, and wealth. They built magnificent palaces, created vibrant artwork, and established one of the most advanced societies of the Bronze Age. The greatest of their palaces stood at Knossos, with hundreds of rooms, elaborate courtyards, colorful frescoes, and sophisticated plumbing systems. Knossos was centuries ahead of its time. Unlike many ancient civilizations, the Minoans seemed less focused on warfare and more focused on trade, religion, and culture. Yet they remain one of history's greatest mysteries. Their writing system, known as Linear A, has never been fully deciphered. We know they existed. We know they prospered. But many details of their world remain hidden. Then catastrophe struck. Around 1600 BC, the volcanic island of Thera erupted in one of the most powerful natural disasters in human history. Massive tsunamis crashed into coastal settlements. Ash clouds darkened the skies. Trade networks were disrupted. Though the Minoans survived initially, their power never fully recovered. Soon another civilization would rise. A civilization of warriors. On mainland Greece, the Mycenaeans emerged as the dominant power. Unlike the seafaring Minoans, the Mycenaeans were heavily militarized. Their cities were protected by enormous defensive walls, so massive that later Greeks believed giants must have built them. The greatest of these cities was Mycenae. Its rulers commanded armies, controlled trade routes, and dominated much of Greece. Unlike the Minoans, we can read their records. Their writing system, Linear B, reveals an organized society ruled by warrior kings and supported by administrators, craftsmen, farmers, and soldiers. The Mycenaeans also inspired some of the most famous stories ever told. The Trojan War. According to Greek tradition, a coalition of Greek kings sailed across the Aegean to recover Helen of Sparta after she was taken by Paris of Troy. Heroes such as Achilles, Hector, Ajax, and Odysseus became immortal through Homer's epic poems. For centuries, many believed Troy existed only in myth. Then, archaeologists discovered its ruins. While the legends contain fantasy, there is growing evidence that a real conflict may have inspired the story. But even as the Mycenaeans reached their peak, disaster approached. Around 1200 BC, something happened that changed history. Across the eastern Mediterranean, civilizations began collapsing. Powerful kingdoms disappeared. Trade routes vanished. Cities burned. The Mycenaean palaces were destroyed. Writing disappeared. Population plummeted. Historians still debate what caused this catastrophe. Some blame invasions. Others point to earthquakes, famine, drought, rebellion, or economic collapse. Perhaps all of them played a role. Whatever happened, Greece entered a period known as the Dark Age. For centuries, literacy vanished. Monumental construction ceased. Trade declined. The world of kings and palaces disappeared. It seemed as though Greek civilization might be gone forever. But from the darkness came renewal. By 800 BC, Greece was recovering. Population increased. Trade returned. New settlements appeared across the Mediterranean. Most importantly, the Greeks adopted the Phoenician alphabet. Writing returned. Knowledge could once again be recorded and shared. This period also saw the emergence of the polis, the city-state. Each city-state was independent. Each had its own laws, traditions, and government. Some were ruled by kings, others by aristocrats. Some experimented with entirely new forms of government. Among hundreds of city-states, two would become legendary: Athens and Sparta. Sparta was unlike any other Greek state. According to tradition, its laws were created by the legendary Lycurgus. Every aspect of Spartan life revolved around military excellence. At age 7, boys entered the agoge. This brutal training system transformed children into disciplined warriors. They learned endurance, obedience, combat skills, survival. Everything was designed to prepare them for war. Sparta's military society depended on a large population of helots, state-owned serfs who worked the land. Because the helots vastly outnumbered Spartan citizens, military readiness was essential. Spartan women also enjoyed freedoms rarely seen elsewhere in the ancient world. They received education, owned property, and were expected to remain physically fit. Sparta became feared throughout Greece. But another city was becoming famous for very different reasons. Athens occupied a strategic position near the sea. trade brought wealth. Ideas flowed into the city. But Athens was not always democratic. In the early 6th century BC, social tensions threatened to tear the city apart. Many citizens were trapped in debt. Powerful aristocrats controlled politics. Reform became necessary. Solon introduced measures to reduce inequality. Later, Cleisthenes established a revolutionary political system: democracy. For the first time in history, large numbers of citizens could directly participate in government. Though limited by modern standards, this was a remarkable innovation. Athens quickly became a center of intellectual and cultural life. Yet before Athens could enjoy its golden age, a powerful enemy appeared from the east. The Persian Empire was the greatest power on earth. Stretching from Egypt to India, it controlled millions of people and vast resources. When Greek cities in Asia Minor rebelled against Persian rule, Athens offered support. Persian king Darius vowed revenge. In 490 BC, Persian forces landed near Marathon. The Athenians marched to meet them. Against overwhelming odds, the Greeks won. The victory shocked the ancient world. The Persians could be beaten. But the real challenge was still to come. 10 years later, Darius's son Xerxes launched a massive invasion. His army crossed into Greece. His fleet dominated the seas. Many believed Greek resistance was hopeless. Then came Thermopylae. King Leonidas and 300 Spartans became legends. For days they held the narrow pass against enormous Persian forces. Eventually betrayed and surrounded, they fought to the death. Their sacrifice inspired the Greek world. Meanwhile, Athens evacuated its population and prepared for a naval battle. At Salamis, Greek ships trapped the Persian fleet in narrow waters. The Persian navy was shattered. The following year, victories at Plataea and Mycale ended the invasion. Greece was free, and its greatest age was about to begin. The decades following the Persian Wars became one of the most remarkable periods in human history. Athens emerged as the dominant Greek power. Under Pericles, the city was transformed. The Parthenon rose above the Acropolis. Artists, architects, and sculptors created masterpieces. But Greece's greatest contributions were intellectual. Socrates encouraged people to question everything. Plato explored justice, knowledge, and politics. Aristotle laid foundations for science, logic, and philosophy. Herodotus became known as the father of history. Thucydides transformed historical writing through critical analysis. Greek playwrights produced dramas still studied today. Mathematicians, astronomers, and physicians advanced human knowledge. For a brief moment, Athens became the intellectual center of the world. Yet success created rivalry, and rivalry would lead to disaster. Athens and Sparta had once fought side by side. Now they viewed each other as threats. Athens controlled a powerful maritime empire. Sparta remained the dominant military power on land. Tensions escalated. In 431 BC, war erupted. For nearly 30 years, the Greek world was consumed by conflict. Athens suffered a devastating plague that killed thousands, including Pericles. Major battles ravaged Greece. Cities switched sides. Resources were exhausted. Then Athens launched an ambitious invasion of Sicily. The expedition ended in catastrophe. Its fleet was destroyed, its army annihilated. Eventually, Sparta emerged victorious, but victory came at an enormous cost. The war left all of Greece weakened, and a new power was rising in the north. For generations, many Greeks considered Macedon uncivilized. King Philip II changed everything. A brilliant military reformer, Philip transformed the Macedonian army into the most effective fighting force in Greece. His soldiers carried enormous sarissa spears. His cavalry became feared throughout the region. Through diplomacy, warfare, and political skill, Philip gradually united Greece under Macedonian leadership. Then, at the height of his success, he was assassinated. His 20-year-old son inherited the throne. His name was Alexander. Alexander was extraordinary, educated by Aristotle, ambitious beyond measure, and gifted as a commander. He quickly secured his throne and launched an invasion of Persia. What followed became one of history's greatest military campaigns. At Granicus, Issus, and Gaugamela, Alexander defeated larger Persian armies. He conquered Egypt. He captured Babylon. He destroyed Persepolis. He marched across deserts, mountains, and rivers. Eventually, he reached India. By age 32, he ruled an empire stretching from Greece to the edge of the known world. Then, suddenly, he died. His empire fragmented almost immediately. Yet, his influence endured. Greek language, culture, and ideas spread across 3 continents. The Hellenistic age had begun. Following Alexander's death, his generals divided the empire into powerful kingdoms. Greek culture spread from Egypt to Central Asia. Cities such as Alexandria became centers of learning. The Library of Alexandria gathered knowledge from across the known world. Scientists made remarkable discoveries. Archimedes revolutionized mathematics and engineering. Eratosthenes calculated the Earth's circumference with astonishing accuracy. New philosophical schools emerged. Stoicism taught self-control and virtue. Epicureanism emphasized happiness and freedom from fear. Greek culture became truly global. But another power was rising in the West: Rome. Initially, Rome admired Greece. Roman elites studied Greek philosophy. Greek teachers educated Roman nobles. Greek art inspired Roman artists. Eventually, admiration turned into domination. One Hellenistic kingdom after another fell under Roman influence. In 146 BC, Greece was formally conquered. Yet Rome discovered something unexpected. Military victory did not erase Greek culture. Instead, Greek ideas transformed Rome itself. Greek philosophy influenced Roman thought. Greek religion influenced Roman beliefs. Greek art shaped Roman aesthetics. As the saying goes, Greece, though conquered, conquered her conqueror. The city-states vanished. The kingdoms disappeared. The empires fell. Yet Greece never truly died. Its ideas survived. Democracy, philosophy, science, history, drama, politics, mathematics, the Olympic Games. Thousands of years later, we still read Homer. We still study Socrates. We still admire Leonidas. We still marvel at Alexander. Ancient Greece was never the largest empire. It was never the richest civilization. But few societies have shaped humanity more profoundly. From mysterious Bronze Age kingdoms to world-changing philosophers and conquerors, the Greeks transformed the course of history. And even today, in governments, universities, courts, theaters, and stadiums across the globe, their legacy lives on. Because although ancient Greece fell long ago, the world it helped create never did. The story of ancient Greece may have ended thousands of years ago, but its influence is still all around us. From democracy and philosophy to science, politics, and the Olympic Games, the ideas born in Greece continue to shape our world today. If you enjoyed this journey through one of history's greatest civilizations, be sure to subscribe to Historic Vaults and turn on notifications so you don't miss our future documentaries. We explore the rise and fall of empires, forgotten civilizations, legendary battles, and the people who changed the course of history. Leave a comment below and let us know which part of Greek history fascinated you the most. And if you found this video interesting, consider giving it a like and sharing it with someone who loves history as much as you do. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep exploring the past.